Today we're going to be going over the 10 best ways to make money solo in GTA Online, fully updated after the Quartz Center Heist DLC. These are the highest money per hour methods, plus some great options for newer players. If you find this helpful, consider liking the video and subscribing for more GTA Online guides like this. Let's get started. Starting off on the easier and more beginner-friendly side of things, we have the Cluck and Bell Farm Raid. This pays the host $600,000 upon completion of the missions for the first time in a week, and doing these missions can take as little as 45 minutes if you optimize everything correctly. However, if you take it more casually, it'll take about an hour to maybe an hour and 10 minutes. If it's your first time doing the Cluck and Bell Farm Raid, you'll also get a $250,000 bonus, whether you're the leader or an associate doing this job. The missions to get to the finale of the raid do take some time, and there are a lot of things to be learned to try and run it as effectively as possible, but there are some great guides on YouTube explaining how to do this, and I plan to make my own Cluck and Bell Farm Raid guide pretty soon as well. The Cluck and Bell Farm Raid basically sees you completing a bunch of dirty police work for Vincent and the LSPD. It's pretty fun, but the only problem is that you can't run the Cluck and Bell Farm Raid back to back instantly, as there is a 48-minute cooldown between running it. But luckily, I have something else that you can do in the meantime, and that is the No Way Out missions from the Safe House in the Hills DLC. This set of missions will pay you $685,000 if you do everything correctly and it's your first time doing it in a week, and it can take a little bit less time than the Cluck and Bell Farm Raid if you do it correctly. These missions entail you destroying the new No Way electric taxi company. On your first run through these missions, it won't seem that efficient to do. However, you can get to know it a little bit better, and I do have a full guide on doing these missions in the description down below. There's a few small and relatively easy challenges to complete the elite bonus, like getting 35 headshots in the final mission. Now, doing the elite challenge is worth it because it adds a good amount to the already good total that you're going to get from doing the missions in the first place. This is also repeatable, however, it's the same as the Cluck and Bell Farm Raid, where you will have a 48-minute cooldown before you can get back into it. So basically the strategy would be to run this and the Cluck and Bell Farm Raid back to back, but we do have something else coming up that's going to be even better than this, so stay tuned. Starting off with an actual business now, at number 8, we have the MC businesses, and this type of business is notorious for not being overly solo friendly. However, Rockstar have made some strides in the right direction, making it easier for people that play by themselves to run these businesses. The sale missions, which were always the biggest problem for solo players, have gotten significantly better. Rockstar have removed the delivery vans, and they've also put in the addition of single vehicle sale missions into the sale mission pool. Plus, they extended the solo sale timer from 30 minutes to 45 minutes for each sale mission, allowing you to have a little bit more time so you don't fail. Additionally, the MC businesses have been buffed repeatedly over the last few years with their payouts, and last summer, the car wash and the smoke on the water business got added to the game, and subsequently gained 35% value in the counterfeit cash factory and the weed farm, making counterfeit cash the second most valuable MC business in the entire game, and making the weed farm significantly better as well. Furthering this, with the Mansion DLC, Rockstar gave us the ability to boost business production, and it is available for all of the MC businesses as well. Now, with MC businesses boosted on production, the Coke Lockup is technically the highest money per hour business in the game, followed closely by the Counterfeit Cash Factory and the Acid Lab and the Bunker falling behind both of those. Additionally, to make these even better, Rockstar allowed us to buy the Security Detail upgrade through the Mansion property, and this stacks with already owned security upgrades on the MC businesses to prevent them from ever getting raided again. Now, don't get me wrong, document forgery is still absolute trash, and you should never even consider buying it, but the rest of the MC businesses in 2026 are actually starting to look pretty sharp to make money with, and I get it if you don't want to use them still, but at least now you're aware that they are significantly better than they ever used to be. I do have a full MC business guide linked in the description of this video. If you're interested, go check that out. Next up at number 7, we have the Hangar, and a few years back in 2022's Criminal Enterprises update, Rockstar made the Hangar business significantly better, taking it from being one of the literal worst businesses in GTA Online to one of the better ones. Although it still isn't the most time-efficient business, particularly for solo players, because of long cooldowns in between sourcing the cargo. Now, each air freight cargo crate is worth a base price of $30,000, but Rockstar have added a bonus for how much of one type of cargo that you are holding, with the best bonuses being on narcotics, medical supplies, and chemicals. If you hold any of those up to 25 crates, there will be a 35% boost in the value of those crates. And if you have all 50 slots filled with one type of cargo, let's say chemicals, it'll get a 70% boost in its value. This is awesome, but it does incentivize pretty heavily to just source one type of cargo, and the problem is with that is that there's a 5-minute cooldown between these sourcing missions, which kind of makes it more worth it to source 2 different types, up to 25 crates, and just take the 35% bonus on either of those, just to simply avoid the cooldown. Additionally, they've also changed a few other things for air freight cargo, but the main one is adding the ability to run your hangar based on land instead of in the air, and the land missions are significantly faster and easier to sell and to source cargo from as well. The great thing about the land missions is that you can still use your awesome aircraft, and this speeds things up significantly. And it also means that selling your air freight cargo, like I said, you can do by land as well, and those missions are significantly better than the old air missions. Now the hangar is of course also where you're going to store your aircraft in GTA Online, like the F-160 Raju, and some things are going to require you to own a hangar in order to purchase them in the first place. Now if you want to know more about this business, I have a brand new guide on the hangar that will be linked in the description of this video. Next up at number 6, we have the bunker, and if you want to be an arms dealer, the bunker is going to be the business that you are desperately want to get into if you're not into it already. This business operates similarly to the MC businesses where you supply them and it makes product. But before we talk about any more stuff to do with the bunker, we need to talk about the location and the best ones for the bunker business, and there's basically 2 of them, but one is significantly better than the other, and I will tell you why. The 2 bunkers in question are the Chumash bunker and the Farmhouse bunker, and these are really the only 2 that are worth having. These are the 2 locations closest to Los Santos where you're going to be selling all of your goods to. The Chumash bunker is located directly beside the Western Highway and initially seems pretty great because of the proximity to such a major route down to the city. However, when you consider that you need to go inland for most sale missions, it starts to get significantly worse because you're going to have to climb up through massive hills in what will likely be a relatively slow and cumbersome sale vehicle. Now for this reason, I suggest the Farmhouse bunker, which is located right next to the prison and Redwood Lights, and the middle highway that goes through the map, making the farmhouse a very ideal location for getting basically wherever you need to go. And coincidentally, about 70 to 80% of bunker sale missions will take you over to the eastern side of the map, which the Farmhouse bunker is significantly closer to. Now the bunker has 2 main ways to make money, starting with the ammunition dune loader that you can do every 48 minutes, which makes you take the dune loader to whatever random ammunition the game tells you to go to, and completing this will pay you $50,000. Now the best part about this is that you can pick up the dune loader with a DH7 Iron Mule or a cargo bob, meaning you can make deliveries in significantly less time than you could without it, especially to the more remote ammunitions like the Cypress Flats location or the Paleto Bay location. But the main function of the bunker is the production and the sale of weapons. This operates similarly to the MC businesses in that you purchase or gather supplies and your staff turn it into products that you can then sell. With this business, there are a couple of key things to note. In the computer inside the bunker, you need to make sure that all your staff are set to manufacturing, as this will make your supplies into product faster and make sure that your staff are not wasting supplies on things like research. Although research does unlock some cool stuff for you to upgrade on weapons and vehicles, but that's not really important. We're going to be talking about making money in this video. For every $75,000 resupply you purchase for the bunker, it will make $210,000 worth of product, giving you a nice profit of $135,000 every time you buy supplies. And you can buy up to 5 supplies in total, and that will mean your bunker's value is $1,050,000 when it is absolutely full. However, if you're playing solo, the most effective way to run the bunker is to buy one $75,000 resupply and sell it as soon as that gets turned into product, because this will guarantee you a single delivery vehicle. Now, the reason I recommend doing it this way is because there are some bunker missions that are literally impossible to complete solo, or are extremely tedious solo as well. The main one I'm talking about is the Dune FAV mission, but every other sale mission realistically is pretty much fine. So do one resupply, one sale, and then rinse and repeat that process. That is the safest and most consistent way to make money with the bunker without risking failed sale missions, especially if you are a solo player. I have a brand new guide on the bunker business. If you want to know more about it, it's in the description. Up next, we got the Acid Lab, and the Acid Lab is definitely a fan favorite. To unlock it, you have to simply do the 6 first dose missions with Dax, and then you're going to be able to purchase the Acid Lab equipment for $750,000 in the Brigade 6x6 or the Acid Lab. Now there is a bit of a caveat with this business though, and that is the fact that you're going to need to complete an additional 10 Fooligan jobs, which you'll have to start by calling Dax to even unlock the ability to purchase the equipment upgrade for the Acid Lab, which is going to be necessary if you want to make any degree of profit with the business. Now the equipment upgrade, once unlocked, will cost you an additional $250,000 to buy, but then you're going to be ready to actually use the Acid Lab and make money hand over fist. The Acid Lab works the same way that the MC businesses do. You buy supplies, it makes product, and you sell it. However, the Acid Lab is very quick at making said product, being the fastest production business like this in all of GTA Online. It also has a built-in boost production ability that you can do once every 24 real-life hours, and this will boost your production for 1 hour by double. So with a production boost, it will make 0 to full product in about 3 hours flat as long as it has supplies. But keep in mind, like I mentioned before, the mansion has a production boost as well that you can apply, and yes, it does stack with the Acid Lab's built-in production boost, meaning that together you can make 0 to full product in 1 hour in the Acid Lab, which is crazy. Full product is going to be worth about $353,000 after naming your acid product through the interaction menu, and that's going to get you a bonus 5% permanently on your acid sales. Now, if you sell in a public or a crew session with the high demand bonus, you can get up to about $500,000 per sale with the Acid Lab, which is pretty damn good. Now, when it comes to selling the acid, luckily this business has a single delivery vehicle and it is upgradable, and it's the Acid Lab delivery bike. It's based on the Maibatsu Mancha Scout, which is a great bike to begin with, and once you upgrade it, it is a pretty quick way to get around, and all of the Acid Lab missions are going to be 20 minutes, so you can easily do absolutely all of them by yourself with the Acid Lab delivery bike. It is very easy. A full guide on this one also linked in the description. Up next, we have the Agency, and the Agency is a business that contains multiple different ways to make money. The main attraction being the Dr. Dre contract. This operates kind of similarly to a heist, but instead of a traditional setup mission, it has several precursors to the final act, which will see you hunting down a guy who has tried to steal unreleased Dr. Dre music and sell it. This is going to pay you $1,100,000 the first time you complete it during a week, and it'll take about 2 hours to complete the first time you do it, but honestly, without cutscenes, which you can skip in your second run, I think it's more realistic to say that it'll take about 1 to 1.5 hours. There's a few more ways to make money with the agency business though as well, and those come in the form of payphone hits and security contracts. Starting with payphone hits, they pay $45,000 and have a 5-minute cooldown between missions. Now, these typically consist of you assassinating a target in a very specific way to satisfy the requirements of the person that sent the hit. Next up, we have security contracts, and these are a personal favorite of mine. These short missions pay you between $35,000 and $80,000 for completing each one, and they range in difficulty and length, with vehicle recovery and asset protection being the longest and honestly least effective ways to make money with the business. While gang termination, asset recovery, hostage rescue, and liquidize assets are all superior because they are much faster to complete. The second half, and my favorite part of security contracts though, is that the amount of these that you've completed affects how much money you make completely passively in the agency wall safe. Now, for each 5 security contracts you do, you'll make another $500 per day in GTA Online, or every 48 minutes of real time. This maxes out at 201 security contracts completed, or $20,000 per in-game day. Now, this might not sound that worth it, but paired with the $8 to $12 million you will make from doing the contracts themselves, getting paid $20,000 a day forever without having to do anything further is a pretty good investment in my opinion. The agency will also give you access to Imani tech upgrades for vehicles, including the famed missile lock-on jammer, armor plating, and more. The agency is a great business and it is absolutely worth buying. Next up at number 3, we have the nightclub. Now, this business is definitely geared towards later game players in terms of getting the most out of the nightclub. So this is not something that a brand new GTA Online player should be looking to buy straight away as your first business probably. Now, the way to run the nightclub most efficiently relies on owning nearly every other business in the game, and that's why you need to be a late game player in order to get the most out of the nightclub. It has 2 main ways of earning money: the legitimate front for the real business, which is upstairs and consists of the actual nightclub itself. If you keep the popularity full, it'll make you $50,000 per day passively, with the only maintenance being the need to keep the popularity maxed out. Keeping the popularity 3 increments away from full or higher at all times is going to be how you're going to do this. There are 2 really good missions that'll help you to do this, and these will spawn in every 48 minutes. One of them is the Kick Out Troublemaker mission, and the other is the Drunken VIP mission. The Kick Out Troublemaker is significantly more ideal. You simply go up, press the button, and kick them out of the club, and you get popularity and $10,000. But then there's the Drunken VIP mission, where you're going to have to drive a client home or to a hospital after a rough day or night at the nightclub. Now, the distance that you're going to have to take them is random, but it can be as close as less than half a mile, or it can be as far as 4 miles. It just depends on where they need to go. This one will also pay you $10,000 for completing it. Then there's the nightclub basement, which, to sum it up briefly, relies on you to own a bunch of other businesses like the MC businesses, the bunker, CEO cargo warehouses, and things like that. And you can hire technicians to accrue goods passively from those other businesses. Then it'll gather them all up and you can sell them for one big payout after one sale mission. Now, a full nightclub basement will sell for just under $2 million, but it is significantly more ideal to sell when it reaches just above $1 million, because some of the product is just simply not worth waiting for. Tony's going to take a 10% laundering cut of the first $1 million you make, but anything after $1 million, the 10% cut is completely exempt. So this is a business I strongly recommend, but only after you've got a ton of other businesses. Now, if you want to know more about it, I have a brand new nightclub guide that I just made, linked in the description, so go check that out. And number 2, replacing the Cayo Perico heist, we have Oscar Guzman flies again. This is definitely not something that I had on my 2026 bingo card, but as it turns out, this is actually one of the best ways to make money as a solo player in GTA Online right now. Oscar Guzman Flies Again has recently been updated to pay a whopping $1,125,000 the first time that you complete this during an update week. Following this, any subsequent runs will still pay you $750,000 upon completion, all for a mission that takes only roughly 50 minutes to complete. Now, to do the finale, you're going to need to do 5 setup missions, which are all fairly short and honestly pretty fun. And then in the finale, you're going to have to shoot down a Titan 250D, then steal it and use it to destroy some enemy assets before bringing it back to the Mackenzie Field hangar, where the mission will end and you will get paid. This is a super fun mini heist sort of raid thing like the Cluckenbell Farm raid that we talked about earlier, except it is better in almost every way. And this is definitely something that I would take advantage of every week. And I just made a brand new guide on this one as well that I released just a couple of days ago. So if you want to know more about it, there is a guide in the description, or you can check my channel for that. As an honorable mention, we have the brand new Courts Center heist. Now, this is the newest heist in GTA Online after about 6 years since the Cayo Perico heist came out. And it is a really good way to make money, at least the first time that you complete it during an update week. Now, the reason that I say this is because the payout for the subsequent runs of the heist drops significantly after you do the first run through, going from as high as about $2.1 million for the highest value primary target and some secondary targets to only about $600,000 for the main target and the secondary targets on your second run through in a week. Now, the heist is fun, but it is also extremely challenging, and if you're going to be attempting to do it, I definitely recommend watching some guides by TGG, for example, on the best ways to complete it as efficiently as possible. The guards in this are extremely receptive and can detect you very easily, so you will have to make sure to stealth walk when you're inside the court center. The laser room is also extremely cool, but exceptionally difficult, especially on hard mode. So that is definitely something to watch out for. Overall, I'm glad this heist got added to the game, but I do think that if the main target value was just higher on those secondary runs during a week, it would make the heist significantly more worth doing, especially given the effort that is needed to learn about how to do this heist efficiently. But at number 1, we have CEO Cargo, and this is something that a few people are probably going to want to disagree with, but I promise you, if you give it a chance and you invest some of your money and time into it, you will get very far very fast doing this business, and you will never regret it. CEO Cargo has been improved massively over the years, and in the Criminal Enterprises update in the summer of 2022, this business got the biggest and most significant buff it's ever received, but Rockstar has buffed the business by adding technicians inside of each of the cargo warehouses. And these guys, for $7,500, will go out and source you cargo, and they will return after 48 minutes of real time. Now, that's whether you're in-game or you're offline. And they will come back with up to 3 crates of regular cargo, and they also have a 1% chance to return with a fourth crate. They will have a special item worth $100,000 or more. Now, pairing this new feature with the fact that you can own up to 5 warehouses, you can scale this really hard and it will make you a ton of money. With the Mansions DLC, Rockstar also gave GTA Plus members the ability to send out warehouse technicians from their phones, so it can be even more efficient if you have GTA Plus. However, through the Mansions, you can now also fast travel to each of the warehouses too, allowing you to go between them quickly by swapping sessions once a technician has been tasked with sourcing. Then you rinse and repeat this until all are out in sourcing. Sourcing manually with an Oppressor Mark II takes me about 2 minutes and 30 seconds to hit all 5 of my large warehouses and send the technicians out. And I do this multiple times a day when I'm online, and I can usually fill my warehouses entirely within a 3-week time span. Now, once you go to sell the cargo in your 5 large warehouses, you'll get about $11.1 million. However, this isn't considering the fact that you can get up to a 50% high demand bonus by selling these in a crew session or a public session. So the total amount of money that I make every 3 weeks from doing this is roughly $16,600,000. The sale missions are all easily soloable as well. Rockstar gives you a generous 30 minutes to complete each sale mission, and most of the missions actually use single vehicles. The longest mission being the 3 brigades with 5 drop-offs each, but even that is no problem in 30 minutes. The only sketchy sale mission is the one with the Valkyrie that comes after you. CEO Cargo is truly my favorite business in GTA Online, and if you use it correctly, you can make an absurd amount of money using it. And this business is so good that Rockstar has seemingly been scared to put it on double money again, as it hasn't gone on double money since September of 2024, nearly 2 years ago. This is another business that I have a brand new updated guide on that I just made, so if you're interested, check that out, linked in the description down below. So there you have it, guys. That's going to be the 10 best ways to make money solo in GTA Online in 2026. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it useful or it helped you out, consider dropping a like and subscribing if you guys are new. With that being said, I will see you all in the next one. Until then, take care. Peace.